Good morning, beloveds. It is January 5th. I got to go to the gym today, so, which is why I'm a little bit behind. So, January 5th, the unerring judgment of divine intelligence directs my faith and makes plain and perfect the way before me. And again, we have three quotes. But we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom which God ordained before the world unto our glory. And that is 1 Corinthians 2:7. The skillful masters of the Tao in old times, with a subtle and exquisite penetration, comprehended its mysteries and were deep also so as to elude men's knowledge. That's the text of Taoism. He who is happy within, who rejoices within, who is illuminated within, that yogi, becoming the eternal, goeth to the peace of the eternal. And that is the Bhagavad Gita. The hidden wisdom of God is the knowledge that we are one with the divine being. This wisdom, which is hidden from us until we perceive our fundamental unity with reality, is clearly revealed when we seek the eternal in everything. The skillful masters who have penetrated the mystery of life, which so often eludes the intellect, are those who, with utmost simplicity, have found direct approach to the supreme reality at the center of their own soul. The Gita tells us that we must become the eternal if we wish to enter into the peace of the eternal. This has an identical meaning with the saying of Jesus that we must be perfect even as God in us is perfect. This calls for the recognition of the Spirit as an indwelling presence, as well as an overshadowing power. The road to self-discovery often calls for the clearing away of the underbrush of ignorance, fear, suspicion, and a sense of isolation, which has made us feel that we were unworthy, unheld, and lost. In the divine providence of good, salvation is unnecessary, but self-discovery is essential. We do not say that which was lost, we merely discover that which needs to be found. I know that God is within me, and I know that this spirit is perfect. I enter into its peace and am secure in a sense of its protection. Love will guide, and intelligence will direct me. The power of the infinite will sustain and uphold as well as direct. The unerring judgment of the divine intelligence directs my faith and makes perfect and plain the way before me. So, what do we hear? I did hear that line in there that said eludes the intellect, because it really is, this is not an intellectual exercise. This is one where you have to use both your intellect and your feelings. It is very important, and that is what, when we talk about treatment, we talk about it in terms of thought wrapped in feeling. And that's the reason, because that's where our power is. Our power is in our feelings. So it can't just be an intellectual exercise. Intellectual exercises are wonderful and will get you a lot of places, but with the divine, it'll only get you so far. That's where you have to bring the heart in. That's where you have to bring the feelings in. That's where you have to feel the divine. It's like we can talk about the divine intellectually all we want, but until we're willing to feel it, it's not going to get us anywhere. So that's where we're at. If you want to know the one, you got to feel the one. And if you feel the one, then you can know the one. It's heart and mind. And then he's got that one line. In the divine providence of good, salvation is unnecessary, but self-discovery is essential. All right? You don't have to be saved. You need to know who you are. And that's what salvation is knowing who you are, learning who you are, knowing that you are a beloved child of God and that you are made from God's stuff, knowing that you have access to the divine mind, that the mind you use is the divine mind. Are you using it to the fullest capacity? So, The unerring judgment of divine intelligence directs my faith and makes plain and perfect the way before me. The first two quotes, okay. The 1 Corinthians 2:7, but we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom which God ordained before the world unto our glory. So basically, it reminds me of that line in the Narnia, the Chronicles of Narnia, where he says, "I was there when the deep words were written." It's like this is older than we are, but we have access to it. The skillful masters of the Tao in the olden times, with a subtle and exquisite penetration, comprehended its mysteries and were deep also so as to elude men's knowledge. All right? So subtle and exquisite penetration, but they elude men's knowledge because you got to have that feeling in there. That's from the text of Taoism. He who is happy within, who rejoices within, who is illumined within, that yogi, becoming the eternal, goeth to the peace of the eternal. From the Bhagavad Gita. That makes sense. It's like when you know who you are, when you recognize the divine within yourself, when you find that secret place of the Most High within yourself, you got it. After that, nothing can shake your foundations. Things can happen all around you, and you will be okay. So, the hidden wisdom of God is the knowledge that we are one with the divine being. Ernest doesn't use a lot of big flowery language, but he doesn't always plain speak. That's plain speak. The hidden wisdom of God is the knowledge that we are one with the divine being. We are made of God's stuff. This wisdom, which is hidden from us until we perceive our fundamental unity with reality, is clearly revealed when we seek the eternal in everything. So if you want to find God, you gotta look everywhere. And it doesn't mean that you gotta keep looking until you find it. It's like everywhere around you is God, including within yourself. So everything that you look at is God looking back at you. That's what that means. The skillful masters who have penetrated the mystery of life, which so often eludes the intellect, and that's what I'm talking about, eludes the intellect, are those who, with utmost simplicity, have found direct approach to the supreme reality at the center of their own souls. Their feelings. Their feelings. The Gita tells us that we must become the eternal if we wish to enter into the peace of the eternal. We don't have to become the eternal. We have to recognize that we already are. All right? That's why we talk about self-discovery, knowing who we are. If you want the peace of the eternal, then you have to recognize that you already are the eternal. This is an identical meaning with the saying of Jesus that we must be perfect, even as God is perfect in us. We must be whole, even as God is whole within us. This calls for the recognition of the Spirit as an indwelling presence, as well as an overshadowing power. God within, God all around. All right? There's nowhere God is not. There is absolutely nowhere God is not. Oh. The road to self-discovery often calls for the clearing away of the underbrush of ignorance, fear, superstition, and a sense of isolation. Okay? So all of the things that we have been taught that do not serve us. Which has made us feel that we are unworthy, unheld, and lost. It's like, we got to let all of that go. So many times, the real work is unlearning what we've been taught. unlearning what we've been taught. In the divine providence of good, salvation is unnecessary, but self-discovery is essential. And I think that's just one of those really powerful lines that we got to know who we are. We got to know who we are. And who we are beloved children of God. Every single being on this planet is a beloved child of God. And if we can start acting like that, especially when we look in the mirror, we do not save that which was lost. We merely discover that which needs to be found. So, I know that God is within me, and I know that this divine spirit is perfect. I know that this divine spirit is whole. I enter into its peace and am secure in the sense of its protection. I enter into its peace. It's my responsibility to enter that peace. That peace can be all around me, and until I accept it, it won't touch me. Love will guide and intelligence will direct me. So your intelligence is important. It's just not the whole picture. Love will guide. Your feelings are super important to this journey. The power of the infinite will sustain and uphold as well as direct. The unerring judgment of the divine intelligence directs my faith and makes perfect and plain the way before me. When we know who we are, it really doesn't matter where we're going, because we'll get there. We'll get there. All right. The mission today, should we choose to accept it? Oof. The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is the recognition of the Spirit as an indwelling presence, as well as an overshadowing power. All right? To recognize that there is nowhere that God is not. To recognize that God is all around us as well as within us. And it's actually more important right now in this place to recognize the God within. And then see the God all around. So if you want to find the God within, then see the God everywhere. See the God all around. So that's the mission. Should we choose to accept it? That is the work that we do. All right, beloveds, I also encourage you, as I always do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. Doesn't matter. Big, small, does not matter. This is a spiritual practice to do this. It is also me encouraging you to create a habit so that your first response is loving, kind, and compassion. Because if you can do it for yourself, you can do it literally for anybody else. Because it's easier to do it for other people. Frequently, we are the challenge, which is why I encourage you to practice on yourself. And I do remind you, it is a spiritual practice. I think people get this idea that spiritual practice is sitting cross-legged on a pillow and meditating for, thinking about nothing for an hour. No, there's lots of different ways to do spiritual practices. This is one of them. It can be 3 deep breaths. It can be savoring a cup of whatever. It can be taking a good nap. It can be going for a walk. Especially if you need to take a break before you say something you'd regret, going for a walk. That is that loving, kind, compassionate to yourself spiritual practice. So, all right. I am all for practical spiritual practices. So I also encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like today. Go get that face full of sun. The sun is gorgeous today, and it's a little warmer, at least here. And drink plenty of water. If you want it to be warm, i.e. coffee or tea, that's good too. But just make sure you drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. Your brain thinks better, and your heart works better when you're hydrated. So whatever else you do today, please open the windows of your soul. Allow that breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. It is all around us always. And the way we find it is to look for the good and praise it. Emma had that one piece of advice from Emma: look for the good and praise it, because it creates more. All right, beloveds, I would like you to have a wondrous day, an amazing day, a great day, a fantastic day, an amazing day, a super day, an enchanting day, any kind of day that you want to have, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. All right, beloveds, it's Wednesday. I think they're still doing the Living Science of Mind book study. So feel free to email info@creativelife.org. That's a Zoom link. It's done by a couple of wonderful practitioners, and Reverend David should be on Facebook Live around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. tomorrow, and we are always on the social medias. Feel free. We got YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and TikTok. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark on the Instagram and TikTok. And I am the running Rev Ryan on 3 of the 4. I'm not on TikTok yet. So check us out if you need us. All right, beloveds, have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.